is the living spirit. And we just looked at that beautiful video with Jamie Luna. And in his introduction to his song, Perfect, he stated that he was glad to be there because...
Or anywhere.
Or anywhere. If he was celebrating his 50th birthday. He was glad to be there and anywhere because he could have been someplace else based on his life. But what has transpired for him, as well as for many people, is there was a revelation, a realization of his true nature, his divine nature. And he acknowledges that he has a nature of light. This day, I'm talking about the living spirit. And our focus thought goes back to one of our words of declaration, the statement of declaration, just a phrase. We believe in God, the living spirit, Almighty. We believe in God, the living spirit, Almighty. That phrase is one of the most powerful statements that anyone could ever make about themselves or about the universe, because it is saying that you have confidence in there being something greater than who you are. And what we believe is that there is a divine presence. There's an infinite power, and that it's everywhere. We call it the Supreme Being. We call it Allah, Infinite Spirit, Divine Creator, or just God. Just God. We call it by many names, and it doesn't matter which name you call it by, it all means the same one, that divine one, that infinite spirit. So we believe in God. God is that breath that we breathe. It is that which breathes us. With every breath that I take in, I'm taking in from the nature and the wholeness that we call God. And it's perfect. It's complete. It gives me sustenance. Because here on earth, we breathe oxygen. We're in a unity with spirit for life. We cannot live without that oxygen. But we have a wise and intelligent God that we believe in, because it says, as you have received, I want you to give back. So even though we take in a breath of oxygen, we release carbon dioxide when we breathe out. And carbon dioxide goes to support the breathing of our plants, because carbon dioxide is their basic gas for breathing here on earth. So now you know why I love trees. It hurts my heart to see a tree get cut down, because trees are helping us. When the plant breathes, it gives off oxygen. We take it in. That's why it's good to have plants in the house. Oh yeah, they can help purify the house. You didn't know that? Okay. It's nice to know. But to get into this thing of we believe in God, the living spirit, let us have an open mind to God itself. Let's have an open mind to what is the living spirit. What does that really mean for us? Each one of us have an idea of what we believe, right? What is it you believe God for? What do you believe God provides for you? We are just like everyone else who has been in a sales pitch, so to speak, for a product. Now let's consider this is just a metaphor. So we're selling this thing of there is an infinite spirit in life that is for your good. What are the benefits that I get from it? Because we all want to know, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? To recognize that there is something greater than I am. What's in it for each of us, number one, is there's a divine intelligence. And that divine intelligence we commune with is our intuition. I can't help but go to the core of the being, because every time I think about intuition, I think about the very center of me, because the very center of me, metaphorically, is that inner life. And God is fully present in our inner life through our Christ nature. We have another statement of principle that says we believe in our spiritual and intuitive nature, and that anyone can be a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling spirit, who lives in close contact with the living spirit. And God is a living spirit, because creation is here and creation is happening every day. We see it through our seasons. We see it in the food that is planted, the seeds that turn into plants, and the fruit that is coming from the plants. And inside of the fruit is another seed for replenishment to keep it on going. We see that God is living through that. We see that God is living through us as we too reproduce. Some of us reproduce children. Others of us reproduce the life of God, supporting one another in that which is to do. Some are in tune with the ideas of the universe, or the currency of the universe, and we bring forth those ideas, stepping forth in courage to allow the living spirit to guide us in how to bring that idea into fruition. Therein, what is it we believe about God at this point? We believe that we're able to manifest the words that we speak. So in spirit, there is manifestation. One of the things that I love most about this idea is that if there is a situation in our life that we need to have an answer to through the intuitive and spiritual nature, we can pose the question, basically go to God in prayer, and we can receive ancient wisdom. We can receive an answer to what could be the solution to our problem. Let me give you an example. As I was looking through my notes, my writings, my journals, I hit upon a short story that I wrote, and it's dated December the 14th, 2015. And I was studying the subconscious mind writings of Joseph Murphy at the time, because I was writing on that paper about the subconscious mind and how it works. And here's the situation that I found myself in. I lost my keys. Sorry, it was not the keys. I lost my shades. And I'm the kind of person all through my life, since I was in, I believe, the 6th grade, I've been wearing glasses. So for me to have glasses across my eyes, that is a natural state. And when I don't have glasses, I am really concerned. And I'm concerned about, am I going to be able to see? And that means indoors as well as outside. So you know, the majority of the time you see me outside, whether it's rain or not, I will put on those shades. So of course, I've had doctors that say, you know, Carolyn, that's a security blanket. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But the point is, that's a part of me. And I misplaced my glasses. I could not find them. I looked in every place that I knew to look. any place that I would just normally place them when I came in the house. But I couldn't find them. So Joseph Murphy said that all you have to do is just go within and allow the creative mind to lead you to where they are. So I did that. I went in. And when I went in, he says the best time to do this is first thing in the morning when you awaken, or the last thing you do before going to sleep. So it was the last thing that I did before I went to sleep. I just laid it out. God, I've looked everywhere. And you know how much money I paid for those glasses. And you know I'm a stickler for money. I like to use money wisely. So I don't want to lose my investment on those glasses. But when I awakened the next morning, it came back to me that it had been raining. And I had my raincoat on. And possibly those glasses were in the raincoat. I had completely forgotten that it had been raining. I hopped out of the bed and I ran over to the closet and I pulled out my raincoat and there were the glasses. So I asked Spirit for that wisdom, and that wisdom came. And it came from the Ancient of Days, I like to call it. That age-old wisdom that's there. And I think it's really important for us to begin to teach that a bit more. How to use our intuition. How to just acknowledge that, all right, I don't have to ask Susan, even though Susan has some really good insight, but she was not with me on that day. She wasn't with me so that she would know exactly where my glasses is. Sometimes we actually will put people and others in front of us before we will go to that which is closer than breathing, that which knows us. Now we say that God is omnipresent. God is the divine presence with me, continually with me at all times, right? And yet, we don't always go to Spirit and ask Spirit to lead and guide us to help us with the situation. But that's the activity of the living Spirit. And the more we get used to doing that, the more productive we will actually become. Or should I say, the more satisfied we can actually become. I'm not the only one that has had such experiences. I know there are several people that have had these wonderful contacts with the infinite spirit of life. Things that happen. As a religious scientist, we all learn to manifest parking places to the point that we never worry about a parking space. We just get in the car and go, and bam, when we get there, it manifests. It's so funny, I just laugh when I go over to the Apple store, because stuff happens to your product. So I go to the Apple store because my phone was not showing up anything. It was like it had no energy, and perhaps I needed a new battery. And as I was going there, I started thinking, now, should I park in front of the store, or should I park in the parking lot? So I go to the store on 4th Street, and I like that area because there is free parking. If I go to the store in Emeryville, I'm going to pay $3, park in the garage.
And walk quite a ways.
And walk, yeah. So I'm musing as I go along. So I finally get to that area, and I drive past the store. There isn't a parking space. I immediately make a left turn into a driveway that leads to the parking lot. And guess what? Just as I'm pulling up, this car goes by me, and I see another car over here pulling out, and I flip my car into the parking space. And it's like, God, you're just so darn good. You're so darn good. Now, I use that example because it shows us that we can ask Spirit for the simple things of life. But what about those things that we would consider to be the large things in life. Helping us to secure a job, helping us to secure a home, helping us to secure someone to love. Can we do that? Can Spirit, the living Spirit Almighty, help us in securing the business that we would like to have? And I dare tell you that the answer to that is yes. We have a great cloud of witnesses around us all the time. I like to look at the life of Christine St. Clair, one of our members. Christine does an amazing business as an entrepreneur with her drapery business. I look at Gloria, who does a wonderful business with her makeup. And there are many, many others. We wouldn't have all of these small business owners continuing to do that work if they could not support themselves. But what I also know about both of those individuals is that they have a spiritual core. They have an awareness, a knowing that sometimes I need to just slow up, settle down, meditate, and connect in with the source of all that is. The source. Now, as we study the life of Jesus, our master teacher, as we study his life, we're taught, let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. What was the mind? What was that mind? It was the mind of God. It was the intelligence of spirit that was moving through Jesus. That is the same intelligence that is available to each one of us right now. The same one. The same intelligence. And we're also taught that we should not quench the spirit. How many of you have ever had an inspiration where you feel this is something you really need to do? And you take the action to do that thing and it turns out so well. And you say, who knew? I never knew this could be so good. I never knew I could have such a wonderful experience or time. But that's because we followed up on the idea of spirit that was given to us. And that's the living Spirit Almighty. So we don't hinder the flow of the Spirit in our lives. And we can take both of those examples, utilizing the intelligence of Spirit and not quenching the Spirit, utilizing the intuition of Spirit to further support the fact that each one of us individually is an incarnation of the living Spirit. This day, you are a living spirit. You are a living spirit. You have the very great ability to speak the word of life for your own particular living. You can speak that word. Jesus said, the words that I speak are spirit and life-giving. And the words I speak will not return to me void, but they will accomplish thereunto which they are sent to do. Now, if that is true for Jesus, letting the mind of God be within the mind of Jesus, that being the Christ within him, the same is true for you and I. And we can do that. We can do that. Oh, we've had those moments where we've spoken our word and it showed up. It scared us. But the more it happens, the less surprised you become. And you begin to understand that this is the way the universe operates. It operates through the creative mind. And to use the creative mind, you must speak your word. So, as we turn back to the inspirational reading where I talked so much about God, I think we talk so much about God because we're talking about ourselves. And we're talking about how we're using the intelligence of life to live our life. Whether we deem it as good, bad, or indifferent, we use that very intelligent mind of spirit for that. So how do we advance ourselves in our living? When we just say we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty. Am I talking about me, or am I talking about something else? Lillian D. Waters was a contemporary of Ernest Holmes, a contemporary of Emma Curtis Hopkins, and all three of them were in the metaphysical mindset and metaphysical thought. And all of them had some dealings, more or less, with Christian Science and divine science. And you know, they were absolutists in their thinking. Lillian D. Waters says, when I speak my word, I speak it in terms of the one truth that exists in the universe. So we have to be awake and aware to understand there's only one truth, and everything else you see around us is just a copy of the truth. The only truth of a spiritual being is the supreme being, and the rest of us are copies. Oh my goodness. So what that means is that if the supreme being, the infinite spirit of God, has all of this beautiful nature of intelligence, love, joy, peace, and hope, then me, being an incarnation of that spirit, I must have all of that too. The same thing. The same thing. So how is it that God can be so peaceful and I have turbulent expressions going on in my life? So Lillian says, oh, it's time to stop lying to yourself. What this means in essence is to awake. Awake to your spiritual nature. Let go of this stuff about, oh, I'm having human experiences today. No, remember, spirit and spirit, one. Your spirit. Your spirit. Yes, you have a human body. I'm not debating all of that stuff. What I'm talking about is when we recognize that you are the living spirit of God, then you act as the living spirit of God. You must follow that to be in harmony and to be successful. Here's another example. You cannot go into prayer seeking the blessings of spirit and the good of spirit, and you bring in all of your limitations, and you bring in all of your obstacles, and you bring in all of the hindrances. You must get to the place of understanding when Spirit says that this divine nature is abundant, that this world is full of abundance, then it is doing what Jesus had to do, overcome that limiting thinking, to let his thinking be when he saw what appeared to be a devastation. No, this is an abundant universe. So Lillian said, get to be an absolutist. Be an absolutist in your thinking. Be an absolutist in the speaking of your word. When you say, I am the eternal truth, I am one with the eternal truth, be bold and know that you are the eternal truth. When God says, I am that I am, you too may be able to say, I am that I am. That's an absolute statement. There's no wiggle room with it. There's no playing down to, no, there is a lifting up of yourself to the reality of your divine nature. So we believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty. We believe in the supreme nature, and we believe in our nature, because the very nature of the individual human being is the nature of God. The nature of every human being is spirit, and spirit is the nature of God. How about that?
No separation.
There is no separation. There is complete unity. And the more we recognize that unity, the better off we are. The more that we can stand in that place of knowing that I am one with God, the better off we are. It's a hard thing for many of us right now to think that we could be in this place of unity, of spirit, when we see the disharmony going on in our world. But yet, speak the truth. Yet, speak the truth. Speak the truth. I am that I am, or I am one with the infinite spirit of life. And as I have my eyes open, let me see clearly. What is it you want to see clearly? I want to see clearly that God is not a respecter of persons. I want to see clearly that all is given, that my every need is met, in spite of appearances, because it is also written in the word, the inspiration says, be not moved by what you hear, see, or feel, but only be moved by the word of God within you. Within you. So it doesn't matter what some of our high-profile individuals in life say to us. If it does not align with the word of spirit within you, guess what? It doesn't apply. Because you've decided to move, to live, and have your being in spirit. And you are not only the embodiment of the living spirit, but you are acting and responding as a living spirit also. So we are here in this life. We can enjoy this life. We can enjoy it. And I invite you to do that today. Let's go again.